Welcome back to All Things Plastics. Today we're excited to introduce our guest, Tiffany, a powerhouse from Wilmington, North Carolina. Tiffany is a 38-year-old personal trainer and nutrition coach, thriving both in person and in her online space, where she shares her fitness and wellness expertise with over 54,000 followers on Instagram. Recently, Tiffany's journey took a viral turn when she underwent a rhinoplasty with La Bella Vie plastic surgery this past January. She chose to recover at home, and today she's here to share her experience, from what led her to the decision to the recovery process and how it feels navigating both fitness and social media life after surgery. We can't wait to dive into her story, the real behind the scenes of viral moments, and what it's like embracing this next chapter. Everyone, welcome to the podcast, Tiffany.
I am super excited to be here. Thanks for having me. And I can't wait to just dive on into this juicy chat, the world of experience that I've had.
Yes. And I found you on social media and your content is so interesting, ranging, like we talked about, from fitness to rhinoplasty to eating to family life. So I'm so excited for everyone to really hear your journey. And let's get started with telling the girls a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what do you do, and how you got started in the fitness and nutrition world.
Yep. So I am North Carolina based. I'm in the Wilmington market. I am pretty close to the beach. I am a self-employed personal trainer and a nutrition coach from the both online and in-person perspective. And I specialize in women health.
Awesome. And how long have you been doing that? How did you get into that after school? Were you like, I want to be a fitness? Like, how did that journey start?
It actually started in 2011. I lost my mom tragically, and that grief turned into just pouring into running, which kind of just led into me really posting running updates every single day on social media. Then COVID hit and the door opened up. My husband encouraged me to pursue, like this fitness path. I got certified, did the corporate gym route for a few years. It was okay. And then I just took a risk on myself and decided to become my own boss.
I love that. And honestly, with COVID, a lot of bad and a lot of good came out of it. And hearing stories like yours, it's like, it really pushes you like, okay, we're going to deep dive in and see what we can do and take on a whole different journey. And look, it's been working out for you. It looks like you're doing phenomenal and you enjoy it and the traction's really good.
I do enjoy it. It's taken me a little bit to find my footing on what's my specialty, what I enjoy working with, how do I stay recharged and fill my cup as a personal trainer who's also human interacting. So I've just got to make sure I balance, running business and life and
everything all in one. I definitely feel you. And you've built an incredible platform with over 54,000 followers. How did that social media journey start for you? Were you like, hey, I'm going to start doing fitness content. I want to post it. Was it pre-COVID, post-COVID?
As I mentioned, I started sharing. I had been on social media as a consumer since the 2011 market when I had lost my mom. And I just sort of passively, as I mentioned, posted those casual, like going for a run cup type of situation. But it was just passive consumerism. It wasn't like here as a service. When I became my own boss, I started transitioning there and it was fine. But you asked me how this all kind of happened. Before I started getting a nose job was at 6,000 followers. And then it really overnight took off. So I want to just
my goodness.
I cannot say this anymore to anybody who's watching this or listening to this. My journey is not unique because there's a lot of really shock factors to all of this. And I don't expect anyone to consider plastic surgery to go viral or to deal with a similar journey that I'm walking at the same time.
Seriously, you cannot just get plastic surgery just to have a viral moment or just to have a vlog about it. Like, it is serious. There are high risks. There's a lot of pros, but a lot of cons as well. And if you're not wanting to do this for yourself, I definitely do not advise you to get plastic surgery just for, like you said, a viral moment.
No, because I really was just laid up recovering and I just happened to press record. Again, I'm familiar with Reels. Social media is my job. I never said this, I'm going to record all this stuff and it's going to go viral. No, but I found myself quickly in a viral wave of everything just went mega viral. I think one of my reels is like 45 million right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
But to piggyback off of what you said, I didn't get a nose job to go viral. I didn't post content to go viral. I make sure that I did the self-love and what happened is I'm recovering. I hadn't even taken my nose situation off. And I'm going viral very fast. Very fast. My inbox is exploding. I got boogers and blood coming out my nose. I can't breathe. But then I've got bullies on one end, like super bullies. But then I've got the entitlement crew. But then I've got the self-love girls who are like, thanks for sharing.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to
Recover.
And it really, and I don't regret any of all of this, but it took this shock factor of me having a nose job away because I had to protect myself from the online space of like, okay, how am I going to, do I continue to keep sharing my journey? And if I'm going to share it, what are the boundaries that for my mental health and my brand are going to shape this? Because I really quickly was having to block a lot of people that were entitled of why aren't you sharing your before and afters? I followed you. You told me this. Where are they? I mean, I was
Wait, people were mad at you for not showing your before and afters?
Yeah, I had to block. I think I've blocked over 1,000 people. It was constantly. I really, again, I cannot insinuate. I found myself in this storm of. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, what the hell? Like, I really was like, I'm just trying to recover.
Yeah.
And I'm getting bullied for my journey because I'm not sharing with you my before and afters. But then I got really angry because it was the entitlement. Like, it was like entitlement, parasocial environment, bullying.
Yep.
It was like, yeah, you should have gotten a nose job way before now. Had I not done the like work internally.
Yeah.
For example, let's say I did the nose job to feel this like thing internally, it would have crushed somebody. It absolutely would have crushed somebody to go mega viral and to deal with the mental change of a nose job.
Yes.
In the online environment.
Yes, and I love how you touch on that. Post-operatively, after any plastic surgery, whether you get a rhinoplasty, a facelift, a mommy makeover, whatever, there is so much mental health changes and depression and anxiety. What did I do after surgery that no one really knows about? And, you know, we're talking about it here and there, but also going viral and then having to deal with that, I couldn't even imagine because it's like, it's just a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it was bad. It was not bad in the sense of like, what do I do? But then I found myself in another niche because I was sharing about the drama and the noise. And then I had this like female movement that was like, thanks for allowing me to stand up for myself and thanks for being the voice. So it was like, I'm just trying to live life. Like,
I know.
And like, out of my nose.
So you had to make this decision while you were recovering so rapidly, like laying there in bed, probably, like you said, snot, boogers, blood coming out of your nose. And so your Instagram's probably going crazy. And then you're like, okay, wait, what do I do right now? Do I keep posting? Do I want this traction? Do I not post? Oh my God, the haters. Like no one knows what to do in that moment. No one does when a viral video hits, you know, coming from 6,000 followers. It's like, what path do you take?
You don't, you figure it out because as I've mentioned, it wasn't just one video. Every single thing was going viral and shared. And I was in a moment one day where I just said, fuck it. Do I just post my before and afters and get all these people off my back? Like, is that what they want? But then it was like, no, this is my journey. This is my story. I get to control it. And those that don't want it can hit the door.
And like you said, you know, it is your social media account. It is your life. It is what you want to share. And people have so much entitlement on Instagram that they want to see everything, which I understand. I like seeing a lot of people's journeys, but you can't go badgering someone because they don't want to show you a specific part of their life or a specific pre-op photo. Like, oh my gosh, the right that people think they have, especially behind a keyboard.
It was noisy. That's all. It wasn't bad. It was just noisy. And I had to remind myself what I was doing. And I had to stay true to it because again, there was so many layers of even the women that were wanting a nose job were getting angry because I hadn't shared it, because I was withholding information because I didn't like my results. And I got really angry because I said, if you want a nose job so freaking bad, do what I did. Join Facebook groups, Google search. Like, this is a before and after. Like, what is the big freaking deal? I just really, again, I don't regret any of it, but it was just a noisy recovery journey.
Definitely. Now, before we jump into your rhinoplasty story, have you ever considered getting plastic surgery before, or how long did you know in your teen years or in your early 20s, like, I think I want to get a rhinoplasty? Or how did that start for you? How long were you thinking about it before you actually did it?
I would say a few years as I became an adult, but as I became more of a content creator on online space, I would find myself not picking myself apart, but just not posting certain angles.
Gotcha.
I didn't like the way that my nose would look in this video, or I would only make sure that I recorded certain angles.
Yes.
I worked with it and I lived life for X amount of years. And then I finally just said, either you're going to live life like this, which was fine, or you're going to start taking action and look into it. Like, how much is it? Go get some consults. And it wasn't an overnight decision because I was very, very, very clear on what I wanted to change, what I didn't want to change, what I wanted, what I didn't. And I really just looked at my husband one day and I said, I have a consult next week. And he was like, okay. Like, it was not a permission slip. It literally was like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing. And he was like, okay.
I love that. I love that. And it's so funny you touched on, we're looking at ourselves 24/7, when you're doing content and when you're filming and different angles and different lighting, and you start seeing things and you're like, oh, maybe I should. Oh, maybe I should. It's so crazy how filming yourself can start turning into, oh, I need to get this done, or I got to fix this, or maybe I want to tweak this. But I love how transparent you are. And, you did your research. You didn't just bite the bullet the first time you saw a bad angle and was like, wait. Like, you took your time, you dealt with it, and then you said, okay, actually, this is what I want to do. And you went for it. I love that.
If I was not positive and stood firm in my decision and what I wanted, why I wanted it, I really, again, to go back to the social media stuff, it would have taken somebody down. It would have destroyed. It would have made it a negative. I mean, it just would have taken, not everyone would have been able to handle the pressure.
Now, explain to us how you found your doctor, where you found your doctor, and that journey.
Yeah, I mean, I just really typed in Wilmington, North Carolina, plastic surgeons.
Did you do that on Google or YouTube? What search engine did you use?
I used Google.
Okay.
Yeah. There were a few in the Wilmington area, and then I just kind of started booking. I actually maybe considered traveling to 3 hours away to a Raleigh market. And then as I discussed the procedure with my husband, he felt like it probably was not the best. And he was right in hindsight of going to Raleigh, which is 3 hours away, to coming home and having I just really wanted to go home after surgery and crash in bed, not deal with a 3-hour car ride. And so I really focused my efforts in the Wilmington market.
Yes. And I was going to say, there's not a lot of plastic surgery in North Carolina compared to New York, California, Miami. So I was going to ask, how did you decide, okay, I'm just going to stay in North Carolina? But like you said, you wanted to go home to recover, which is totally reasonable.
Yep. I had booked 3 different consults from 3 different people, and I landed with the final one at La Belle Vie because of just their personalization, their bedside manner. Price was a factor, but even if the price was still the same, did the surgeon see my vision? Did they support my vision? How long I was going to be out of work for?
Mm-hmm.
And was he pushing his branded nose job look, or was he really meeting me with what I wanted? And
tailoring to your specific needs. Yes. Now, I can imagine in North Carolina, a lot of, our guests are transparent with the prices of their surgery. The last surgeon I worked for in California who did rhinoplasties, he was charging around $12,000 to $17,000 for a rhinoplasty. I'm assuming that North Carolina was definitely cheaper than that. Or
yes,
was it?
Absolutely. And I don't mind being transparent. I paid $7,000 for mine.
Okay.
The price is a little bit different now. And I think it's a little bit, I don't want to say cheaper and lower, but my rhinoplasty was quoted at a minor rhino, and we can kind of get into more of what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was not a full blown bridge and bruising and re-breaking. It was just a lot of tip work that kind of fell in that minor rhino.
Got you. But that is, that's a reasonable price for a rhinoplasty, $7,000, especially, now in 2025, prices are out of this world for anything.
The first place I went to was $15,000, and I said,
okay.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy to hear in North Carolina, $15,000 for a rhino, because I thought that was only California or New York prices.
When they quoted me the $7,000, I was giddy like a schoolgirl, and I basically said, "Can I just pay you can I just pay you now? This was
right now, cash."
It was very affordable. I mean, it was plastic surgery. It's not like Botox. It's not like this $25 thing you buy on Amazon. It's an investment, but it was an affordable investment that I was willing to save up for and pursue long term.
Now, with this, you said this was your 3rd consult and you picked on the 3rd one, correct?
Yeah.
And finding this doctor, did you also do any research on the specific doctor, or did you go to the surgery center and they had a doctor for you? How did that work?
Each of the facilities had their own primary doctor. So when I booked for La Belle Vie, they had, Dr. Casey Sheck was going to do mine, or if I went to other ones in the Wilmington area, there was going to be a designated primary plastic surgeon that focused in rhinoplasty.
Okay. Yes, my question is because a lot of girls, especially, I don't know why they do this, in Miami, they go to a surgery center. Let's say Miami Life Surgery Center, and there's a handful of doctors. The patient goes in, they say, I want a mommy makeover. They say, okay, we have these 2 doctors that specialize in that, you pick. So those patients aren't picking a doctor. Whereas more in California, we have, okay, I want this specific surgeon and this is his private practice. So I was wondering for you, if you went to that surgeon's specific private practice, or if you kind of went to a surgery center and then they helped you choose from their surgeons.
The Wilmington is nearly not even close to Miami and LA and stuff. There were times in my picking a surgeon where I would call plastic surgeons and they did not focus on rhinoplasty. And
Yes.
so then I just narrowed it down based off of, did you do rhinoplasty or not?
Okay, I love it. Now, were you nervous leading up to surgery day, or did you feel kind of calm and confident? Were you prepared, or do you have some things that you're like, shoot, I wish I would have done this, or
Wish that I would have known ahead of time that I was going to go mega viral and that I would have to face bullies while I was dealing with bloody boogers.
Of course.
No, I never wavered. I did one moment ask my husband. Again, I did not get a nose job for my husband to love me any more or any less or fix our marriage, but I did say, can you see what I am trying to achieve and improve? And he said, yes, I love you. I married you for who you are. I will support your improvement. So there was never a zero wavering doubt of, should I do this? Well, there wasn't until the morning of, and then that was a whole nother situation. But no, I never questioned, was this the right decision ever?
Love that. You were so confident in your decision. And it's funny, everyone was like, I was totally fine the past like month. And then the morning of, it's like, holy shit, am I really doing this? I'm like, those are completely normal feelings. I'm like, if you weren't feeling this way, I would be worried. Like everyone always stresses out the morning of. I'm like, that is natural.
I didn't even get nervous until I laid on the table. The IV, my husband, the glasses, the anesthesiologist talked, nothing. I was confident AF.
Oh my gosh.
And the moment I laid on the table, I started crying. Not only did I start crying, I asked some random stranger in the medical surgery suite to pray for me.
Oh.
And I just said, I'm nervous, but I still want this. And then I fell asleep.
And it seems like you were so confident in your decision, but maybe, you sound like such a strong personality and a strong person that you were just trying to hold it all together. But you had a little moment of like, okay, like, let me let a little bit of the stress and anxiety out right now. So that's what it sounds like. But what a trooper you are.
Yep. Never, ever nervous all the way up until, that final needle.
And where did you learn to all the pre-op supplies, all the post-op supplies? Where did you did the surgery center help you? Did the surgeon give you some paperwork, or did you do your own research into the recovery process and what you would need to recover for the rhinoplasty?
They gave me a sheet of like, here's your medicines and you need to eat soft foods. That was it. And not that they did not deliver, that was not a lacking, what's the word I'm looking for? It was not like a failure on them. I just was not even prepared that going home, I would not be able to open my mouth and feel my face and learn that I would have to drink out of a straw and that I would have to eat baby food. Like I was completely not prepared for that.
Oh my gosh. And that's what frustrates me. A lot of, I don't want to say surgeons, but surgery centers, surgeons, pre-op nurses, PACU nurses, they almost kind of sometimes overlook the post-op care. Hey, yeah, call us if you have an infection. Hey, yeah, take your meds. Hey, yeah, come back in 3 to 5 days for your postoperative assessment, but they don't go into the supplies you need, just more in depth. So to help you guys out after surgery. And it's like, I get everyone's so worried about the surgery itself and the outcomes and the results, but it's like, I really wish that a lot of outpatient surgery centers and doctors focus more on post-operative healing and supplies for their patients, because it helps you guys out in the long run and relieves a lot of stress.
Yeah. My doctor was available via text during that week of, why is my body fighting a fever? I'm spitting out blood. My nose is bloody. Like those clinical surgical things, nuances. But I mean, there's that gap between clinician and real world of like, yeah, you're going to not be able to open your mouth and it's going to feel weird. And like I mentioned, it's going to be an adjustment for a little bit.
Definitely. And rhinoplasties, they're not as simple as most people think. It's a very traumatic surgery, especially to the face. And there's so much bones and cartilage and soft tissue in the nose that, yeah, it's a small area, but it's still something that is really serious and still has a lot of risks. And how was your immediate post-op experience? What was the first couple days like recovering at home?
Well, day one, I didn't even look in the mirror because while I didn't have any bruising because I didn't have bone work. I just had tip work.
Okay.
But I knew that there could be a shock. There was going to be a factor that was going to be involved. And I just mentally I just wanted to give myself a day to just kind of like, live.
Yes.
The darkness.
Not stress. Yeah.
Day one, I just crashed. I slept a lot. My husband was able to take care of me there. The day two, I really just said, okay, let's see what I look like. And it was shock. There's blood. There's stitches. I didn't sleep well the night before. It was like day two of what I thought plastic surgery would be. And so
Yeah.
You just try to function for a while. I didn't take any of the prescribed pain medicines. I just kind of did the Tylenol thing. But I did have to, my body needed a break and it needed a little bit something stronger. So I did kind of cycle on and off of what was prescribed from the Tylenol versus the prescription medicines. I would say it really wasn't like, but even with the the boogers and the don't pull the stitch out and the stuff, it wasn't bad and it wasn't even bad then, but I couldn't breathe because you got all that crap in your nose. And so
did they do any packings?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, those are,
breathe.
nope.
You got boogers.
Yep.
But then it's like hanging in your throat and it's like,
yes.
Day 5, I'm like trying not to lose my shit.
Yeah.
I really was like, oh my God, that was the biggest struggle, was just like, what do I do with all of this?
And you can't really clear. They tell you not to, a lot of pressure, coughing or sneezing or any of that because you don't want to create pressure around your nose. So you trying to horse up any of the nasty blood and secretions. It's hard. It's like, ugh. And then your throat's dry and from mouth breathing.
But then you've got they tell you to take stool softeners. And if you don't, then you have to deal with that after day 5. And my body didn't respond to the stool softener. So it's I expected it was a plastic surgery recovery. But even with all of that, I don't regret any of it. It's plastic surgery. It was an invasive procedure. I mean, it wasn't a terrible thing, but it's plastic surgery.
And in regards to the stool softeners, I know you're really healthy and you work out. So taking a couple narcotics, did that really affect your GI system? Did you get constipated pretty bad? Yeah, because your it's very foreign to your body, especially because if you're eating so healthy and taking care of yourself, it's like you take the medication, it's like a shock to your body almost.
But you're dealing with the narcotics and then the stool softener. But then I also wasn't
eating enough, probably.
I wasn't eating, I was just surviving. I was literally surviving off of liquid protein shakes, things that literally baby food and stuff like that. And so everything was kind of thrown off because I was just trying to get through the week.
Yes. And you weren't even, I'm sure you're active almost every day out the week. When you're in a recovery process, the day before and on, you're not moving around. You're not getting your steps in. You're not getting your cardio in. So I'm sure that played a factor as well. Now, as a personal trainer and a nutrition coach, how important do you think nutrition is during the recovery phase after surgery?
It's 100% key. This is not the time to go into a diet. Your body is stressed. It's gone through a major trauma. It's recovering. Do not take yourself into a calorie deficit or start crushing your calories because, oh my God, I can't work out. Do not do that.
Oh, that's the worst.
No. And this is a little bit of a taboo. If the first thing that you think of when you are scheduled is, I can't work out for X amount of weeks, we might need to have a bigger conversation about your relationship with food and fitness first before you start thinking, I can't work out for how long? Because you're right. If you can't take a break for 4 to 6 weeks to recover a nose job and there's a internal fear factor going on, we need to have a bigger conversation there.
Definitely. And I think so many, fitness girlies and health girlies, sometimes we run into a lot of issues because they're freaking out. I can't work out. Wait, what? I can't do this. Wait, what? And they're spiraling. I'm like, if we're already in this headspace prior to surgery, this is going to be a disaster, a big disaster. And I like how you touched on calorie deficit. Okay, I'm not working out, so I'm going to only eat 1,600 calories a day. Girl, no, your body just went through a traumatic experience. Your body is going to be burning more calories because of the trauma. So we got to get the protein. We got to get the hydration. All these things, you still need to eat adequately so your body can heal. We should be thinking about healing and not, okay, is my stomach going to stay flat?
There will be a little bit of a strength. You'll notice a change in your strength when you come back, but if you keep your protein high, if you don't make any changes, you won't lose any lean muscle. You're just going to lose you're just going to be a little weaker in performance, but you'll bounce back.
But hey, muscle recovery, right? If you've been doing it for a long time, you will bounce back and your muscles will remember what to do. Now, did you follow any specific post-op eating plans to support healing? Or did you kind of already have in mind, I'm going to continue doing my same plan, but maybe take some extra supplements?
No, I didn't change anything, literally nothing. The only thing that did change was my activity level did obviously decrease. And I had to have a very honest conversation with myself because even that, I thought I could bounce back to, again, I'm a personal trainer. I'm on my feet. So 10,000 steps is it's just normal. It's normal.
It's your normal every day.
But I couldn't bounce back to that. I had to really say, okay, you're going to have to listen to your body. And 6,000 steps became the new norm. And my doctor said that he said, your nose knows. And I used that rule.
I love that.
Because if I pushed myself, whether I was on my feet too much with returning back to training clients, my nose knew. I would get really swollen. It would hurt. My nose would run a lot more. I would have to take Tylenol. And that meant I did too much. And so I just would have to listen to, shocker, listen to your body. Your nose knows.
Yeah. And our head and our nose, all of this is very vascular, right? So if we're increasing our activity and our movement, we're increasing our blood pressure. And when we increase our blood pressure, we're increasing our circulation. Thus can cause, increased pressure and complications. So that is very important. Oh, it's just a nose job. No. Like it's more than just a nose job.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, were there certain foods or supplements that you prioritized, like maybe protein shakes because you couldn't really chew a lot, maybe chicken and steak were hard, or was there arnica or collagen, anything that you kind of made sure like, okay, today I gotta get in it?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I kept the lean muscle while I was still recovering. And so I definitely, for the first few days when I was all masted up, I just survived. I literally, if I wanted to eat soup, I ate soup. But then towards the 2-week, 3-week mark, I was like, okay, we need to get it together. Let's start dialing things back in. Let's pay attention more to your macros. And I did supplement with protein shakes there because my taste buds had changed a little bit.
Yeah.
I did try to use arnica gel, but it didn't help with the bruising because I didn't have any. It said it was supposed to help with the swelling, but when
inflammation.
I found it out, it would just dry my face out. And so it wasn't really helping either. So I just stopped using it.
Did you ever look into the arnica supplements or the arnica teas, the pills or the tea version? No. Okay.
No. I think there's something called bromeliad or bro.
Yes. Bromelain, I believe.
No.
Okay. Any other supplements that you kind of prioritize, or protein was kind of your number one that you were focused on?
As I mentioned, I kept my calories the same prior. I just really focused on hitting, just kind of nutrition wise, getting back to where I was because I knew my body needed to recover. It was not the time to be freaking out. And so if my body wanted soup that day, then I ate soup, but then I also made sure I paired it with a protein and all of those,
Yeah. Now, were there any foods that you were like, no, I have to stay away from this? Like, absolutely not. Anything you avoided specifically?
Well, I learned the hard way. One night we had pizza, and obviously that's very salty, but it was just too much salt, and it created this really deep pressure. And it was not only here, I felt like a chip, I could literally feel the water retention.
Oh my gosh.
And it was not fun. So I was like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. Or at least I just really stayed away from high, super salty foods. Obviously pizza, obviously fast food, obviously processed foods. And so.
Yeah. And in regards to soup, were you eating fresh soup or were you eating canned soup?
No, I was eating canned soup because I'm lazy and I was trying to just survive. And if that meant going in there and eating 60-second Campbell's chicken noodle soup, I mean, I'm just trying to be real here.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. But the girls listening, canned soups have a lot of sodium. Yes. So if you can try to buy a low sodium, Campbell's has low sodium everything. And if you go to Sprouts or if you go to Harris Teeter or Ralph's, wherever you live, they also sell fresh soup if they have a little bakery section. So fresh soup is always a little bit better. But if you're going to go for the canned route, try to get the low sodium, please.
And at least drink your water.
And drink your water. That plays a big factor with helping to reduce any swelling with any plastic surgery and in general in life.
Yes.
Now, for someone about to have surgery, I could probably guess this. What's the one nutrition tip you absolutely recommend for a better recovery?
Don't slash your calories because the last thing you want to be doing is dealing with a painful nose, bloody situation, and then be like, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
We will deal with that later on. You're not going to go, you're just resting for 6 weeks. And even for then, I was able to start walking slowly at week 2. You're not just laid up on the couch binging cookies and whatever.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic, girlfriend. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't cut your calories. Do not start a calorie deficit after surgery. And I always tell the girls, try to have a nutrition plan in place before surgery, because what happens is they go to surgery, they're passed out for 2 days, then they wake up and they're like, let me try to get my shit together. And then they're too tired, too anxious, too overwhelmed to even try to put a plan in place. Okay, today let's prioritize our hydration and our protein and make sure we get adequate carbs and it doesn't happen. You think that's going to happen and it doesn't. Try to have a plan in place before, whether that's prepping your meals before surgery, at least for 5 to 7 days, maybe freezing some meals. Maybe if you have the extra funds or you were able to save up, having a meal service for at least 7 to 14 days. Those things, they sound easy, but when it really comes down to it, you guys don't follow through. Then you're out there getting a Chick-fil-A salad. Then you're out there you know what I mean? Getting all these things that aren't appropriate after surgery. So really taking the time and putting money aside and having a proper plan in place. Even if you have someone that's helping you recover, a friend, a family member, a significant other, buy the food and say, hey, can you just warm up this pre-made chicken and sweet potatoes, like whatever it is. It helps a lot.
Yeah, my husband was there to help me during that recovery, and I planned myself ahead of time just because I preferred certain recovery foods, and I set aside like a Tiffany survival. If I needed something, go to the drawer, grab me this and this. So we did have a plan in place. We also had a plan in place of when we were going to use our neighbors to bring over food versus what we're going to cook at home. Was he going to cook at home? Was he able to handle cooking at home 7 days a week? But then also to piggyback what you said is don't start a new diet, but don't start a new fitness routine either. If you want to start CrossFit, don't start CrossFit.
Nope.
3 weeks after a nose job.
Definitely. And, speaking about working out, how did you approach it after surgery? Did you wait the full 6 weeks? Did you wait a little bit longer? How did that process go for you, hopping back into your regular workout routine?
Well, see, it's a funny story is because I haven't started yet because I was cleared at week 9 and then I dealt with a pretty serious bout of pneumonia. So I had to take care of my lungs before I So I was cleared at 9, but then I've been keeping up with the things that I've been doing, such as not adjusting my calories, such as walking, such as controlling the controllable. And I haven't lost any muscle mass. I've been doing in-body scanners. I know for a fact my muscle mass is the same.
I love that.
I've really had to lean into this is the season of taking care of my mind and my lungs. And then I have now slowly, I think I did the first resemblance of some workout the other day, but my lungs were not ready to go full on to where I was 4 months ago.
And how the heck, it's hard to say where you get sick from because I'm assuming you were staying inside a lot. Do you think you got it at a grocery store, or I know you have children or your husband, do you have kind of any clue of how you got pneumonia?
It started off as a cold, but then I'm in a pretty season of stressful life.
Yeah.
Forget about my business and the nose job. My dog has cancer. So I'm struggling with that, and it just is exacerbated by seasons of stress. I did ask my surgeon, was this like a cause and effect type of situation? Did I get a nose job that opened up me getting a cold that led into this?
More success.
And he said, no, he 100% said that you would have caught a cold before nose over after because where we're at right now is a lot of pollen. So there was nothing that was indicating that the nose job was the reason why I got pneumonia. It's very much life is stressful and.
Yeah. And how shitty pneumonia out of all things, pneumonia after surgery. That's a tough battle to fight. But I'm so glad you're doing better and taking care of yourself and prioritizing your health because that is definitely our priority.
It is. And being a fitness coach, whether I have to be my own client sometimes and I just have to make myself work just because I don't get a free pass of life stuff. So I just have to remind myself, okay, you're going to meet the client where she's at. And if she can only do 10 minutes of low resistance body weight, then great. You start there. You meet them with where they're at. And then I know that I have to prioritize my lungs and my health first. And then this is just a season of life.
Definitely just a season, and you will definitely get through it. And you already seem, from the looks of it, you're healthier, you're glowing, your nose looks good. So you sound great. I don't hear any coughing or hacking or difficulty breathing. So it sounds like you are definitely on the right path. So I'm definitely happy for you. I feel so bad though. What? How shitty.
But it's just life. It's just, you roll with it.
And so you had your rhinoplasty in January and we're now in April. And other than that, with the pneumonia, any other complications, or other than that, with the basic swelling, the basic drainage, everything else was kind of smooth sailing for you? Mm-hmm. Good. And are you taping your nose at all or wearing anything at night, or no? You're just...
No.
Okay.
Again, anyone who is listening to this, please follow your surgeon's protocols.
Yes.
Everyone is going to be very different. I chose my surgeon based off of my lifestyle, my business. Could I return back to work to training clients? So please listen to them, first of all. The only thing that he has now made me start doing at the 3-month mark is I have started massaging my nose just to kind of get... I think soul fluid. I don't know what he told me. It was a technical, basically my nose still felt fake and kind of nummy feeling. And so just massaging it would create some of that less weird feeling. I don't know. It just felt, have you ever?
Yes, no, I haven't, but I'm sure tell you to massage your breast. It's like massaging your breast. You're massaging your nose.
Yeah. It feels normal now, but before he was like,
it was kind of hard.
Yes, numbing
Gotcha.
and sleepy feeling. And so that's the only thing I do.
Rubbing all the tissue, waking everything up, and increasing circulation.
Yep. I don't tape at night, none of that.
All right. Now let's talk about your viral moments and your social media. We did touch on this at the beginning. Now, your nose job journey went viral online, and that was your day 2 post-op, correct? You recorded that video, or was that
That was day 1.
That was day 1.
The morning of where it's like, girl, don't do that. I'm thinking about it. I literally, had I had known that I was going to start a viral, like, whatever, I would have maybe worn a different outfit or, like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, like,
You're like, comb my hair back a little bit. Like, yeah. Yes.
That was literally day 1.
And did you tell your husband, did he understand the extent? Because some husbands aren't on social media. Were you like, hun, X, Y, and Z? And when he like, what? Or was he confused about the situation at all?
Because he's a man, so they're not always going to see things like women, emotional
Yes.
women. We both were this shock factor of like, what had happened is the first 10 million of the one that like kicked it off was like, I can't believe this. And then like my followers started growing and it was like 10,000 followers and like 20,000 followers. And I was like, oh my God, what if I had like 25,000 followers? And it did. And it just was like this overnight almost success. And so, but with that came the noise.
Yep.
It came the positivity. It came the women that were wanting to hear the journey, but it also came the trolls. And so he just tried to level set with me of turn it off and take care of your mental health and don't make sure, supportive husband stuff and,
Yes.
all of that. But
Now, with the negativity and judgment online after sharing your experience, how did you handle it and how are you handling it today? I know, a couple months ago it was different. Do you reply to people? Do you try not to? Like, how do you tackle that?
I block and I delete because
Okay.
anyone who is going to criticize somebody improving their self, whether it's a nose job, whether it's a new job, if you're going to lead with negativity, I don't want to be around them. And I used a lot of times in this viral movement. If you've got milk in your fridge that stinks, are you going to let it sit there? Or are you going to take it out? No, you take the
True.
trash out. Like,
I love it.
blocking
Tiffany took the trash out.
because that was a boundary that I decided in my brand that I was not going to tolerate. I was not going to tolerate you coming to my page, spewing your bullshit. Like, you will be blocked, you will be blessed, and I will continue to move on because if I responded back to them, I'm just going to continue to, they're just trolls. They're just people who are insecure. They're usually people that are in their basement watching cat. Like, it's not
Definitely. And did you see more men having a negative opinion or did you have more women or was it kind of both, which I hope it wasn't, but
Unfortunately, it was a little bit of both. It wasn't just women of my age, which is I'm 38. It was unfortunately the grandmas, the moms,
the boomers.
It's like, I cannot believe that you're sending me these DMs and you've got children because I cannot believe it because I would share the criticism, but then I would also find myself really in this wave of, well, I've signed up for this. I'm a social media creator and like a lot of it was you signed up for this. And I'm like, no, I'm a human and this is not going to happen. I really had to find my backbone during this whole movement because it was not, you're not going to do that here. Not
And
no, ma'am.
Yeah, I definitely like how you set that boundary because if that troll goes over to another page and another girl doesn't say something, they're like, whatever, it's just an old lady who hates life or her husband, all this stuff. And she gets away with it once or twice. They think they can get away with it every time. And I feel like when someone finally addresses them like you, like, hey, I hope that it's kind of a shock factor. Like, oh, like this is a real person. Or I love that you're nipping it in the ass as it should be.
Because I had to, because people don't give a shit. They don't care that there's another person behind this. They don't care. I realized that there is a movement where women do want to learn and hear about my story and why it's improved my life. But there's also going to be people that are noisy and going to choose you and put you down and tear you down. So it's a matter of who you decide to listen to. And I will not allow online bullying and
I
you will
love
be
that.
blocked and you will be blessed.
Love that. Blocked and blessed. Now, how has getting a rhinoplasty impacted your confidence both personally and professionally?
I would say that it's gone from like a 90 to like a 95. I was
Love
really
that.
confident in who I was before. It just has improved. It's an improved version. I can want improvement, but also still love myself. They can still coexist.
Yes.
Now I just don't have to take 59,000 pictures and delete all 59,000 of them because I don't like the way my angle looks. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, that's okay. I can handle that.
It saves time. It's more efficient. Okay, we fixed that problem and the content can carry on.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently during your surgery journey at all? Besides wishing that you knew you were about to go viral.
Because I don't even wish that. I don't wish that would have never happened because it's just a blimp and a part of my journey.
Do you think doing it sooner, is it because of age? Is it because of life factors, life responsibilities? What do you think doing it sooner would have, what do you think?
I didn't realize how accessible plastic surgery was.
Okay.
It is an investment, but it is something that if you want something, just like we buy a house and a car and we go on a trip, you save for it, you make it work, you either live with it or you don't. I mean, and I was fine I lived with it for 38 years.
Mm-hmm. But, 10 years ago, if you knew that the rhinoplasty would have been $7,000, you would have probably bit the bullet sooner.
No, because I think I needed to do a lot of self-healing internally because I would have done the $7,000 nose job and I would have fixed my face, but then I would have not been able to handle the criticism for being online, or I would have not been able to, when I told my clients I was getting a nose job and they said, oh, you're fine, I would have probably been like, okay, you're right. It was my journey. I decided to do it. And like I said, I didn't even ask my husband. It was not like, I didn't disrespect him, but it was like, I'm going to do this for me. And he's like, okay. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love your perspective on that and your take on that you were not mentally, mature and ready to take on those battles that came with getting plastic surgery.
Because there was a battle, and we haven't touched on this, and I know we're yapping, and I thank you for allowing me to yap. You see online these beautiful transformations where they take the cast off and they pull the stents out, and these women are crying, and oh my God, my life is complete. I didn't have that. I had a time period of mentally adjusting to looking in the mirror and not hating yourself and not hating how your nose looked and learning how to love your new nose. Because while I still look very much like myself from the front, I changed my face. I changed my nose. I don't have big girl nose problems anymore. I have, how do I smell like a normal person problem now? You know what I mean? And so,
yeah. So still working on that and trying to figure out that whole other aspect of post-op.
Yeah, but that was 4 months ago. I've really learned to I just took a picture the other day and I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh.
I love that.
But no.
Now, what advice would you give to someone considering a rhinoplasty or nervous about the recovery?
Do your research. Make sure that you really just don't book some Joe Schmo online. I mean, do your research. Up until the night before, I was making sure that my surgery didn't have any negative reviews. Did I know what I wanted to change? I was very, very, very clear on why I was changing it, what I was changing it. Did my surgeon and I have the same viewpoint and mission and goal?
Love that.
Make sure that in the event that you find yourself 6 weeks into post-operative, you can't work out. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
You have a plan in place there. We talk about the nutrition plan in place. We talk about preoperative and all of these things. But what if you find yourself and you can't work out for 6 weeks or 4 months because you've gotten pneumonia and you physically can't? Yeah. What's your mental plan there? Do you have support? Do you have somebody to?
Yes. Support's a big one too. Yeah. Because hitting that journey alone, and if there's, a couple bumps in the roads or some complications, or like Tiffany, if you get sick, if you catch a cold, do you have that support? It's really hard. And I understand that some people have more support than others. But even if you have one friend that can help support you along the way, it really makes a difference.
Yes, because what if you don't have a good experience, or maybe you do have a good reveal, but it just looks very different. And now you are spiraling because you have a new nose that you're not used to. And now you literally have nose dysmorphia or the whole extreme of the mental side of nose jobs.
Yeah, I touched on this on another podcast episode. That's what happened with Jasmine. She got 360 lipo, a BBL, she got a breast aug, and she's a very petite girl. And now, after surgery, it took her a while to really adjust to her new body. She had hips, she had curves, things were plumpier because that's what she wanted. But she was like, oh my God, I'm not skinny anymore. I'm not petite. I look wider. I look this. And it's like, well, Jasmine, these are curves. Of course, they're going to be strange to you. You've never had them. So even if your results are amazing and this is what you wanted, it is still a process of getting used to your new body, your new face, your new nose, your new hair, anything. It takes a while to really adjust because, like you said, you've been looking at this face for 38 years and then something changes. It's an adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, it's even an adjustment when you record yourself for the first time on social media and you see nostrils that you didn't have before. I mean, even 4 months post-operative, I'm still very much swollen down in here just because of the amount of tip work that I did. So I'm not even seeing the
results yet. It takes, almost 2 years to see results of a rhinoplasty. It's so intricate and the swelling takes a long time to go down. So you do still have ways to go. Definitely. Now, what is next for you personally, professionally, with the fitness, with the online stuff, the coaching, anything that you're kind of excited about that for this spring or this summer?
Just survive, because I know that my time is very limited with my dog. And so I'm trying to choose the balance of everything, which
Yes.
that's a whole other conversation in itself. But I'm
Yeah.
excited just to continue to share the rhinoplasty journey, because there's still a lot of content that I haven't even pushed out, because
Yes.
it's hard to do when you've got multiple brands and pillars and all of that fun stuff on social media. So I just continue. I'm excited to lead from the front and show women that it's okay to love yourself, but also want to improve it. And it's not wrong, and it's not taboo, and it is very accessible, and it is doesn't make you a bad wife or a bad person to want to make improvements.
Yes. And are you still going to be are you taking on any new clients, or are you kind of just focusing on doing online stuff? How's that going to work for you?
Nope. The bills still have to get paid. So
Yeah.
I will continue to still be my own CEO, and I will continue to keep training clients, and I will continue to keep serving online and in the in-person space.
Love
nothing
that.
changed there.
And do you think in the future, any other alterations, or you just wanted your rhinoplasty and you were like, I am content and I'm moving on with life, did what I wanted and I'm out of here? Or do you think anything else?
When you get rhinoplasty, you start noticing other things that you could improve and change. And I want to just be mindful of not falling into the fix this and fix that and
yes.
this and that. I mean, I think just being fully transparent woman to woman, I would love my 11s touched up.
Okay.
And I would love my under eye bags, but like,
and
okay.
and without aesthetics and injecting stuff, I mean, I have Botox, I'm frozen, but you can do things for your skin. You can do Morpheus, you can do under eye PRP, you can do under eye PRF. So there's a lot of things too that if you don't kind of want to go the injection route, you could do a lot of other treatments and procedures to help tighten and lift certain areas too. So you could definitely look into those and see if those help without biting the bullet and getting anything else.
Yeah, but I'm perfectly fine with a rhino, and I'm super excited and glad I did it. And yeah.
I love that. And for anyone listening, we will definitely be collabing and tagging Tiffany so you guys can go on her page for fitness content, for nutrition, for rhinoplasty questions. And if you guys have any questions about anything, she'll definitely, help you out. Just don't be a bully or else you will be blocked and blessed, as she says. And I thank you so much for coming on and being transparent and sharing your journey. Plastic surgery, as we say, is still a little bit taboo. We are making headway with, women talking about it and people being more open. And I love that I have this podcast to give this space for different stories, from lawyers to moms to personal trainers to authors and influencers, just sharing their journey. Because each time we interview someone, there is always something interesting and something that we can all learn from everyone else. So I really appreciate you. And I hope that you continue to have a speedy recovery and spend as much time with your little doggy as possible. And I'm sure you've given, is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
A girl.
Well,
Her
I
the
do,
best.
but
You have two?
Yeah.
Give her the best life, and you sound like you're doing everything right. So I just hope you have a good recovery, and I thank you again for coming on the podcast and sharing your journey.
It's been my pleasure. And you're doing awesome, and I couldn't have been any more excited and ecstatic to collaborate with you.
Thank you. And I will definitely be keeping up and see how your nose heals and see all the haters that you block and all your fitness and online content. So if anyone wants to go check Tiffany's page out, we will go ahead and tag her on our Instagram. Other than that, thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next week with a brand new podcast episode. Bye.
Bye.